Emails and follow-ups are one of the biggest invisible drains on professional work, not because they're difficult, but because they quietly pull your attention away again and again. Most professionals don't realize this, but the moment they open their inbox, they're about to lose the next 15 or 20 minutes, not on one big task, but on dozens of tiny decisions. Each of those decisions feels small, almost insignificant on its own. But every time you decide whether to reply now, later, or not at all, your brain pays a cost. Context switching isn't free. It fragments attention. And by the end of the day, you're not tired because you worked hard. You're tired because you kept deciding. In this video, we'll look at how a single AI workflow can handle emails and follow-ups automatically, quietly, consistently, and without constant human input. This isn't about inbox zero. Inbox zero sounds productive, but in reality, it often shifts the problem instead of solving it. You're still deciding, still sorting, still remembering what needs attention later. The inbox might be empty for a moment, but the mental load isn't. What professionals actually need isn't a clean inbox. It's fewer things competing for attention in the first place. If you're a consultant, business owner, or knowledge worker, your inbox is probably not empty right now. There are emails you need to reply to, emails you meant to reply to, and emails you're postponing because they require a bit of thought. Add follow-ups to that, and the problem compounds. A client needs a nudge, a conversation needs closure, someone is waiting even if they haven't said it yet. Nothing breaks immediately when follow-ups slip, but momentum fades quietly, and opportunities don't wait. Most professionals don't drop follow-ups because they're careless. They drop them because humans are inconsistent. We forget, we get interrupted, we delay things that feel small, and small delays stack up. This problem doesn't get better as your career progresses, it gets worse. More clients, more conversations, more people waiting on you. The stakes increase, but the number of hours in the day doesn't, which means the cost of missed follow-ups quietly becomes more expensive over time. AI systems don't have this weakness. They don't rely on memory, they rely on signals. To understand why this matters, let's look at what usually happens without automation. A meeting ends. You tell yourself you'll send a follow-up later. Later turns into the end of the day, the email stays unsent. The next morning, new messages arrive, the follow-up gets buried. Nothing dramatic happens, but the relationship cools, just slightly. Now imagine the same situation with a simple AI workflow in place. The meeting ends, the system already knows it happened, it already has the context. A summary is prepared automatically, key points are identified, and a follow-up draft is created before you even think about it. You're no longer trying to remember what to say, you're simply deciding whether to adjust it. The follow-up goes out on time. Every time. This is the real shift. AI doesn't replace communication, it replaces the mental effort of remembering to communicate. That difference is subtle but powerful. So how does this actually work at a system level? Not the tools, not the buttons, just the logic. First, something happens. An email arrives, a meeting ends, a client replies. That event becomes a signal. Instead of relying on you to notice it, the system notices it automatically. Second, the system asks simple questions. Does this need a response? Does it need a follow-up? Is there an action hidden in this conversation? These aren't complex decisions. They're patterns you already follow subconsciously. AI simply follows them every time without fatigue. Third, a response is prepared, not sent blindly, prepared. A draft message, a reminder, a scheduled follow-up. You stay in control, but you're no longer starting from nothing. And finally, the action happens, automatically or with a quick review from you. That's the entire workflow. No magic, no overload, just fewer things competing for your attention. Let's look at a realistic example. A consultant working with several clients at once. Before automation, they mentally tracked who needed a follow-up and when. Some messages went out immediately, others were delayed, a few slipped through entirely. After setting up a simple AI workflow, every interaction triggered a process. Meetings created summaries,
Summaries created follow-ups. Follow-ups were sent or queued automatically. The consultant stayed responsive without being constantly reactive. And this is important. This kind of system doesn't make work faster, it makes work lighter. Most people describe this shift not as productivity, but as relief. There are fewer open loops, less background stress, and less mental clutter at the end of the day. When the system handles remembering, your attention becomes available again, not just for work, but for thinking clearly. That's where the real productivity gain comes from. Of course, there are mistakes people make when automating emails. The first is over-automation. Not every message should be handled automatically. Sensitive conversations still need human judgment. The second mistake is poor context. If the system doesn't understand the situation, the output won't feel right. And the third mistake is expecting perfection immediately. These systems improve as they observe patterns. They don't need to be perfect. They need to be helpful. The professionals who benefit most from AI workflows aren't the most technical ones. They're the ones who understand where their time actually goes. Emails, follow-ups, small decisions repeated every day. Once those are handled quietly in the background, higher value work finally has space. This is why email and follow-up automation is often the first AI system professionals adopt. The results are visible quickly. The friction drops immediately. And once this works, other workflows become much easier to imagine. In the next video, we'll look at how professionals use AI to handle meetings and documentation without adding more tools or complexity. Thanks for watching.